Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home.
Hello and welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this is your first time, welcome. So glad that you're here. If you struggle with food and weight, you are so in the right place. I was 50 pounds overweight and struggled horribly with my weight. Nothing I tried could help me. It was just really a constant roller coaster of up 40, down 10, up 20, down 5, up 30. It sucked. So I know what it's like to be an emotional eater and to be out of control of food. And that's what this show is about. How to overcome that roller coaster ride, how to even that out so that you can have freedom around food and not be obsessed and not have it be the sole focus of your life, not have it steal your life from you and your attention and every waking moment from you and your family, but instead to have peace around food, to have peace around your body and how you feel about your body and how you feel in your body, and to really make peace with who you are so you can show up in the world with joy and laughter and fun and just be a bright light in others' lives. So that's what we're here to talk about. That's the Heal Your Hunger Show. So welcome. So glad to have you here. Now, today's topic is a great one, and I can't take credit for it. I was literally just today in conversation with somebody who really shared something that I just felt like I have to immediately share with you. It was so helpful, and it's not rocket science, but it's a great reminder in how to have healthier relationships, how to really communicate more effectively, because I'm all about better communication so that we can lessen the stress of our relationships, which often drives us to the kitchen, how we can be our best selves and be compassionate and loving and really relate with our fellow human beings in a way that helps us feel more a part of rather than separate from. Because God knows that feeling of being separate has driven us to the kitchen and the refrigerator way too many times. So, you ready for this? I want to share the 6 words that can change a relationship. And they're split up into 3 words, so it's 2 phrases, 3 words each. And the first one is so important, and I used it tonight actually in a conversation I had earlier. But the first 3 words are, I hear you. Simply, I hear you. And these words are so important when you're in conversation with someone, when you're having a conversation and perhaps talking about some deeper things. Somebody's perhaps venting or sharing their feelings or disappointed or upset or out of sorts, and whatever the case may be, or perhaps it's somebody who's feeling joyful and happy. But what they want more than anything, what we want more than anything, is to be heard. This is so, so important. And so rather than always seeking to be heard, to be understood, to have people know us, that was such an obsession of mine for so long as an emotional eater. I just craved to be known because I felt like a foreigner in this foreign land. And so I wanted somebody to know the real me. Of course, I didn't really put the real me out there because I was too afraid, but I did have that longing. So rather than continue to long for people to hear us and know us, we can take the first step and begin to hear others. And this is really good practice for us, isn't it? So practice these 3 words, I hear you. You know, so much of the time when you're talking to your spouse, when you're talking to your significant other, and the conversation is perhaps rocky, perhaps some feelings are coming out that aren't easy to metabolize, either on their end or you're speaking them yourself. So much of the time things can escalate and become just hard, really hard, and you can miss each other, and then it just gets harder. So much of the time we want to explain ourselves. We just go to defend whatever it is that we think needs defending, and we add a whole lot more words to the conversation that perhaps get us into more trouble. And so next time, just try these 3 words, I hear you. Because I hear you is so grounding. It's so grounding, it's so thoughtful, and it's so caring. And it doesn't have to put you in a position of either agreeing or disagreeing. You don't have to give up your position. You don't have to give up anything except compassion and love. So to say, I hear you, is to give the person that you're speaking with the validation that they desire, because we all desire to be validated and loved. And so saying, I hear you, just gives them what it is they're really seeking, without your having to explain, without your having to defend, without your feeling like you're giving up a part of yourself or you're losing ground. Literally say, I hear you. And so much of the time, that's all you need to say. It's so effective. It's so beautiful. It's so spiritual to just say, I hear you. I acknowledge you. I honor you. I honor the feelings that you're expressing. You don't have to agree with them. You're not saying that they're right. You're literally just acknowledging that person and honoring the fact that they are and they feel, and they're expressing what they feel. And they need that. They need that before they can move on, before they can hear you, before you can really make any progress. So please practice saying these simple 3 words, I hear you. Now, the other 3 words are so magical. They're so magical. And I never really realized until this beautiful woman today, who's a minister, was sharing about this and these 3 words. But the 3 words are, in my opinion. In my opinion. And what this does when we say this is that this helps us differentiate our opinion, where we're coming from where other people may be coming from. In other words, it states the fact that I don't think I'm necessarily right. I'm not saying that I'm the bottom line on this subject. I'm not saying that you should listen to me and you should believe me because I'm right. You're saying, this is my opinion, and you put it out there. You're not obligating them to anything. You're not demanding anything of them. You're literally owning your opinion as yours and just leaving it at that. You've said it, and I'm a big proponent of getting it out, speaking your mind, not stuffing it, because as emotional eaters, if we don't say it, we stuff it, right? So one of the biggest culprits of emotional eating is stuffing our self-expression, clamping it down with food, stuffing ourselves with food so that we no longer feel that inspiration to say something. We've completely buried it alive. And that's a problem, because if you bury it once, you'll have to keep it buried with more and more food. So don't stuff it, but say it. But when you say it, use the qualifier, in my opinion. Isn't that brilliant? In my opinion. So you can say how you feel. You can be strong in what you're saying. In my opinion, this is how I see it. You can be strong and confident. You're not weaseling out by saying, in my opinion. You're simply stating the fact of humility that this is where you're coming from, and you're not saying it's where everybody else should be coming from as well. They can choose. They can choose to agree with you. They can choose to listen to you. They can choose to say, I hear you. But the bottom line is, you are just claiming that this is how I feel, and that's it. End of story. This is how I feel. And what anybody does with it is their business. Okay, so you're really not making any demands of anybody. You're not being arrogant. And the thing is that you can be strong in stating how you feel, but it's not arrogance when you preface it with, in my opinion. That's what's so wonderful about it. And I have, somebody in my life who I consider a coach, and I attend conferences where he's speaking, and I've gotten a lot of great advice from him. He does a lot of videos that I pay attention to because he's brilliant. The guy's brilliant. But he always prefaces things, or he adds it to the end. You can do it either way. he says, in my opinion. So somebody probably taught him that as well, and he has used it continuously ever since, because it really softens the blow of the things he says, because he's very outspoken. But when he says, in my opinion, what he does is he just takes one step back from being authoritative. Okay, so instead of hammering the table with his hammer and saying, this is how it is, he says, this is how I feel. It's my opinion. Do with it as you will. So I just love those 3 words, in my opinion. So I'm going to try using that, and you'll probably hear more of that from me. I hope I adopt that. But this is something that I just thought was really fantastic that I wanted to share with you. Just some tidbits for the day that you can take with you and practice and see if it helps your relationships, helps soften the communication, helps ease the communication between you and another, or you and many. Just to say, I hear you, and to also preface or end something you say with, in my opinion. Because in my opinion, that's the way to have better relationships. Thanks so much for being with me. If you've enjoyed this, please share it with somebody that you love. Help them have better relationships and more effective communication. And please leave a review on iTunes or wherever it is that you access this show, because it helps us get this word out to the world. So help me do that. I so appreciate it. In my opinion, it'll make a big difference in the world. And I promise I won't beat you over the head with this stuff that I just taught. I'll use it appropriately, and that'll be that. But let's all use it and have a more enjoyable and loving and compassionate relationship with the world. Thanks so much. You are awesome. Have a great day. Take care.
If you enjoyed this show and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.